Two teams that desperately need a win are going to face off on Sunday between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Houston Texans. By the way, that game starts at around, what is it, like 2:05? It's 2:05 Mountain Time, so it's probably like 3:05, whatever time your guys' time. So, yes, going to be very interesting when you talk about the fact that two teams that both each have one win on the season are going to be facing off for this in a little bit of a later game slot. So it is very interesting, but honestly, the Raiders should not be in this position, but we'll get into that in just a second. But overall, as we talk about this Week 7 preview between the Raiders and Texans, yes, this is going to be a very fun game because, this just because both teams have one win doesn't mean this isn't going to be fun because, honestly, on one end, and we'll start here, looking at both offenses because you want to take a look at what both of these offenses has to offer. So much star power with the Raiders. You talk about Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Matt Collins and company. Like, there's just so much talent here that I'm really excited for. Like, I really think that all these guys are going to be able to do something special here. And quite honestly, especially when you consider the fact this offensive line has been somewhat inconsistent, somewhat great at times, maybe-ish. Yeah, I don't know. But Josh Jacobs has really found his groove over the last couple of games before the Raiders bye, rushing for over 100 yards in both games. And really, when he's on, the Raiders are on because if he can run the ball, a lot of times these wide receivers are open to be able to make things happen as well. So that's been very encouraging to see for the Raiders as they've been able to put up points. I mean, they went up against the Chiefs and put up some points there. So definitely something to keep an eye out for there. So as far as the Texans, Dameon Pierce, man, he's been a stud this entire year. He's been one of those guys. If you haven't got him on fantasy yet, trade for this man because he's going to get the ball a lot. Davis Mills and company are clearly still figuring it out. I got a little bit of flack for calling Davis Mills good. When you consider what this man is working with, I would consider him good. Like he's shown a lot of promise. I mean, he has the potential to be one of the better quarterbacks out of, what was it, last year's draft where there really wasn't, to the draft from 2 years ago when you're talking about Trevor Lawrence and all them. Like, he legitimately might be having a better career than Trevor Lawrence at this point. That's saying something. So, yes, I'm going to call him good. Just deal with it. At least he's better than what the Texans have had to deal with that quarterback in a little while. But anyway, so, Brandon Cooks, we'll get into the injury reports here in just a little bit. But I believe he was a DNP. We'll get into that. But overall, this Texans offense, they can run the football. We'll see what they can do in terms of establishing the passing game because I do think it will be interesting. Defensively, the Raiders, Max Crosby has really been the only guy that's been able to put any pressure on anybody. Like, it's been kind of annoying, but I'm really hoping that the rest of this defensive line can get after it. Guys like Bilal Nichols, who actually has been pretty respectable in the run game, and I really want to see some of these other guys get after it. I want to see Malcolm Kuntz in there. I want to see Tashawn Bauer in there. I want to see Divine Diablo on a blitz. I want to see all these guys just getting after it because it's about time that this defense for the Raiders plays up to the way that we know that it absolutely can. So, defensively for the Texans, honestly, I'm actually very encouraged by the Texans defensively because Jalen Pittry's been a stud. Derek Stingley Jr., there's been times where he's struggled. I definitely think that's going to be a matchup to watch between Derek Stingley Jr. and Davante Adams. But, this defense, I like what I see so far. Jerry Hughes still coming off the edge, giving the Texans a little bit of leadership, a little bit of veteran leadership. The rest of this defense, I really like what I've seen from Jonathan Greenard here, as well as Malik Collins. So Christian Kirksey in the middle of it all again. So I do think this defense, at times can make plays. I definitely am going to give them the credit that they're due because I do think that, guys like Jalen Pittry, Derek Stingley Jr., I'm excited for their future. So, and there's a lot to kind of go off of here. So, honestly, I'm excited moving forward for the Texans. Yes, it's a little bit of a rebuild, but it is what it is at this point. So, injury report. Jayon Brown for the Raiders, was limited both Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see what he does Friday to see what his game status is. Then Matt Collins, limited on both days. Really nobody out except Hunter Renfrow, who popped up on the injury report on Thursday who was a DNP. So we'll have to really see what happens with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. And if he can't go, please someone just step up. I don't care who it is. Just give me that third option that can really go out there and make a lot of plays. Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, like I said, both those guys could potentially, going to be something to watch. Could both potentially be out. We'll see what happens there. As far as the Texans go, Malik Collins, who was a DNP on Wednesday, was a full participant on Thursday with that knee injury. And Brandon Cooks, DNP, I believe he was a rest day, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure what NIR rest stands for, but anyway, non-injury related, excuse me. Okay, so he's just getting some rest there. Was a DNP on Wednesday. I think he was good to go on Thursday, and the rest of it really looks good for the Texans. So the Raiders potentially being without two top playmakers on offense, it'll definitely be interesting to see what does happen there because both of those players do big things for this Raiders offense. So keys to the game. Raiders, you got to feed Josh Jacobs. I feel like he is a guy that, you've seen him go over 100 yards over these last two games that the Raiders have played. And coincidentally enough, the Raiders offense got going in both of them. So yes, feed Josh Jacobs, get him the ball early and often, get him going, and then watch how the rest of this offense flows around it. And then the rest of it, you got to get the stars going too. If Josh Jacobs is going, you got to feed the ball. You got to get Devontae Adams involved. And if Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller aren't going to play, I don't care. Feed the ball to everybody. Spread the ball out. Make things happen, and just get everybody involved. And then finally, you got to shut down the run. If you are the Raiders, you make a guy like Mills beat you. Excuse me, because I do think that this is one of those games where your worst enemy right now is Dameon Pierce. I don't want to give Cass any dispersions or not give Davis Mills any credit, but honestly, you make him beat you at this point. So I think the Raiders got to shut down the run and they got to run the football. Those are the two biggest keys for me. As far as the Texans, yes, heavy dose of Dameon Pierce. Excuse me. He's been able to be the stud, the heartbeat of this offense. Keep getting him the ball and just let him do his thing. And honestly, I don't think and the Raiders or the defense has stepped up at times, but it'll be interesting to see how the Texans attack the Raiders defense moving forward. Young stars and new stars. So Devontae Adams going up against guys like Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, that has the potential to be a little cringeworthy. Derek Stingley Jr. has already seemed to struggle in some cases. I mean, he's a rookie. Of course he's going to struggle. But he's gone against one of the game's best in a guy like Devontae Adams, so that'll be very interesting to see. Jalen Pitre, also the rookie there, getting some run. How will he do? Even guys like for the Raiders, Dylan Parham, how will they fare? But, those young stars and new stars for the Texans, how will they play up against those? And then also pressure on Derek Carr. When Derek Carr is pressured, he is one of those guys that he doesn't make bad decisions, but anytime you can get pressure on the opposing quarterback is usually a good thing. So, I think, both teams are going into this game with the general understanding that the season, especially for the Raiders, could be on the line. The Texans are a young and up-and-coming team, excuse me. Apparently I can't talk today, but I do think this will be a very interesting game to see how it all does unfold. But that's it. That's our Week 7 preview for the Las Vegas Raiders versus Houston Texans. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think of our Week 7 preview for the Raiders versus the Texans.